The Teacher Experience Days are to give teachers a better understanding of the skills needed by students progressing to industry. Ultimately, these days contribute to achieving the Gatsby benchmarks. So what is the Gatsby benchmark, and why does it matter? The Gatsby benchmark is made up of 8 benchmarks. 1. A stable careers programme. 2. Learning from career and labour market. 3. Addressing the needs of each pupil. 4. Linking curriculum learning to careers. 5. Encounters with employees and employers. 6. Experiences of the workplace. 7. Encounters with further and higher educational institutions. And 8. Personal guidance. Every single student needs exposure to all 8 of the benchmarks to consider the Gatsby benchmark fulfilled. Let's explore the experience that our teachers have exploring the benchmark 5, learning from careers and the labour market.
Having taken part in the Teacher Experience work days with Rolls-Royce, it was a great honour and privilege for us to be invited along to their great venue, their workshops, and to see how all of their team worked together. The key thing that came out of it was the importance of communication. This seemed to be a vital aspect of their workplace life. The way they talk to each other in a way that is demonstrating politeness, effectiveness in terms of their communication, so that they could obtain the highest results possible for what they were building, but also the ways in which they were using their communication skills to ensure that they were leading each other to help one another become the best example of themselves. Therefore, in our English curriculum, what we need to make sure is that we are putting in place enough opportunities for students to discuss their ideas fully, so that they can be as creative and as innovative as possible in our subject area, where they can use discussion in order to improve and develop their own ideas. In the planning phase, this is really important to ensure that you get the product or the end result you want. So for English, we need to look at how we can use discussion to improve the planning process for our creative work that we do. Additionally, we need to continue to use the checklist and the flowcharts to ensure that students are clear about the models we want to create, clear about the end products they want to reach and work towards, so that they can get the best grades they possibly can, but also to ensure that they demonstrate the skills necessary to improve their pieces.
Visiting Rolls-Royce was an eye-opening experience where we learnt about the broad range of jobs available, including expected things like openings for degree-qualified applicants, but also apprenticeships for those who might prefer a more hands-on approach earlier in their working lives. From a maths perspective, many of the jobs that companies like Rolls-Royce recruit for involve significant amounts of mathematical knowledge, from engineers who study advanced mathematics, including calculus and differential equations at university, through to craftsmen who have to be fluent with quantitative techniques to ensure that they're producing products that meet stringent quality control requirements on measurement and fit. On top of this, most of the work carried out at the factory conforms to standardised processes, and whilst these are particular to the task being carried out, they are conceptually similar to learning and applying techniques in subjects like maths. For example, when you sit down to solve an equation in maths, you are following a process with steps to be undertaken, decisions to be made at key points, and with an overarching requirement to complete the task in an error-free fashion. Our hosts at the factory were very welcoming and enthusiastic and genuinely conveyed a passion for the company they work for. It was a very interesting and enjoyable experience, and one of the things that I am planning to do is try and put together some lesson content that builds on some of the ideas that we explored during the visit.
Do you know what? The visit to Rolls-Royce was inspirational because I saw so many connections between our syllabus, but it's making it explicit. The kids are really not very good at making it explicit. So I can tie what I saw, the skills, the whole thing, that sort of the strands that went through every communication, every chat we had with all the different apprenticeships, meant that we were looking at communication skills, we were looking at this ability to transfer these skills, to problem solve systematically. So I really love that DMAIC acronym, and we're going to actually have a look at using that because it is just the scientific method, but that DMAIC acronym means that we can really break it down for kids to something that they will remember. They do it all the time, but it's making it explicit every time. So hopefully going to do a careers lesson tomorrow, looking at how we use that DMAIC and using it for problem solving. So hopefully we'll have a look at that. But I'm rolling it out to the rest of the faculty and beyond in order to really make it explicit how the skills that they are learning, the important transferable skills, those organisation, communication and problem solving skills, are relevant, and that's the important thing they need to take forward as part of their education, that holistic view, rather than, why am I learning this? Well, actually, you're learning this because you're being able to present to people, you're being more confident in front of people, you're problem solving systematically, you are communicating your thoughts. And in science, they seem to forget that communication is obviously the biggest thing that they have to learn.
During the teacher experience days and the visit to Rolls-Royce, it has certainly influenced my curriculum and what I intend to change within the curriculum to support our students as they move into the world of work. One of the main things I picked up on was presentation skills. Whether it's the apprenticeship or degree route that they take, they have to produce presentations. Whether it's a presentation based on their passions or whether it's more structured and a specific topic that they're given, they need to be able to present. Now they might have to do it either recorded and sent in or actually live in front of an audience. And our students aren't necessarily prepared for that. So within computer science, for example, with the A-level projects, I will break each section down and make them present what they intend to do during those sections of the project. This will give them the skills they need for when they move into the world of work. Another thing that Rolls-Royce talked about quite passionately was having a digital appetite, being able to use technology to their advantage. Whether that's sending an email, designing a website, they have to have a passion and a basic understanding of IT systems. This is something we need to develop across the school. Whether it's IT across curricula, working with different departments, or whether it's just working and building that foundation of basic skills that are no longer actually delivered within the computer science curriculum, such as presentations, spreadsheets, Word documents, even down to the basics of writing an essay. Problem solving is a key skill they want their employees, apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships to have. Computer science is really good at teaching this skill. We call it computational thinking, thinking algorithmically. We already do this, so we will continue to do this, but we will also make sure that students understand that this is prevalent in the workplace, that it is a skill that will help them in the world of work later on. Also at Rolls-Royce, methodologies, whether it's a waterfall model, an agile model, a rapid model, they focus heavily on methodologies. And we already teach this. Within our projects, within our A-level, we focus on the methodologies that Rolls-Royce value the most, such as the Agile model. So this is a great skill to keep embedding with their students, but also, again, to highlight that this is a real skill that they can take on in the world of work, giving them an understanding of why they're doing it and how it will benefit them later in life. For me, going around Rolls-Royce was absolutely fantastic, whether it was looking at the new Spectre electric car, whether it was seeing the production line or how they paint the vehicles, even down to the coach lines on the cars, and the detail and quality they produce. It really highlighted to me that they drive for excellence. And that's what we try to do here. We're always pushing for excellence and to get the best out of our students. But sometimes our students don't understand the reason why. Why are we doing this? Why do we expect this of them? And by giving us this experience, we can now share that with the students and hopefully open their eyes and their minds to the prospect of going on into the world of work with skills that are meaningful. One of the things we learnt about at Rolls-Royce was their use of Principles U. Principles U allows you to take an online quiz which defines your archetype within a team. Once your archetype has been defined, you can then add this archetype to its individual island. Then, when you create your own teams, you make sure that you pick an archetype from each island, thus giving you a well-rounded and balanced team to produce the best outcome possible. The following skills are skills that Rolls-Royce and the BMW Group feel are important for employees of the future to possess. Therefore, we should try to embed these within our curriculum where possible. Those skills are thinking outside the box, effective communication skills, digital appetite, planning and organisation, creativity and curiosity, being kind and humble, and being team players.
So the purpose of the lesson was problem solving and working together and communication. We used the Rolls-Royce DMAIC acronym as a method of working through a problem systematically. So D is for definition. It's defining what actually the problem is, and this is where their communication skills come in. Then we measure it. Then we design a practical and investigation in order to collect data about the problem so that we can solve it. Finally, then we're going to analyse that data so that we can solve the problem and improve it to make it better. We need to be able to then make sure that we have the controls, that we can make sure this wasn't a fluke, that your result and your problem-solving skills have worked. But the whole purpose was to work through this systematically. It's essentially the scientific method, but in an acronym that the students can work through clearly. As you can see through pictures, we've got two examples of students' work. First of all, we gave them a brief of a problem. They then had to summarise that problem, and that was then given to another group in order to solve the problem. Because in reality, if you were working in a factory situation, you would have different departments doing different things. So this was practising their problem-solving skills. The second group would then read through what the problem was and then would design a solution to it and return it with instructions of how to use it for the first group to apply to the problem. They didn't know that they were going to get delicate little biscuits as their fragile component, and so we had an array of different sizes and shapes of equipment to solve the problem, which was a really interesting way of, when they reflected on it, they could see where the issues lay with their problem-solving skills. I like the fact that some of them really got into this and were branding and had this whole marketing thing going on as well. But you can see these were two of the examples that we had that were produced during our lesson.